I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation following, if you can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
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 Roll call, please.
Allen.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Mistrovich.
Here.
Reindell. Ricks.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Warren.
Here. Motion to excuse Councilor Reindell for being at a fire would be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any questions, comments? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Approval of minutes for the last city council meeting on August 16th. Motion would be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Audience comments on any non-agenda items. We would ask you to come to the podium. I believe Armada is here this evening. Would you like to come to the podium?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Michelle Polis. I'm the clerk in the Village of Armada. This is Marvin Wolak. He is our president. We're going to read a letter that we prepared for you, and then if he has time, he'd like to make some comments also. On behalf of the Village Council of Armada, I would like to offer our sincerest gratitude to the City of Richmond's Department of Public Works for their assistance during the recent tornado that devastated the Village of Armada. We have no words, as thank you just doesn't seem to be enough. As most of you know, an F0, F1 tornado hit the Village of Armada and the surrounding area on July 24, 2021, which completely changed the landscape of our village, as so many of our beautiful old trees on village property and residents' properties were taken down. Many of our residents also suffered home and auto losses, and the devastation was nothing we could have imagined as a community. What we also couldn't have imagined was the immediate offer of assistance of your people and equipment. We could not have accomplished so much without your assistance. We cannot express how deeply we appreciate your Department of Public Works. Let's hope that there's never another natural disaster, but if there is, please know that you can count on the Village of Armada for any assistance needed. We cannot, there's no words, so thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you to your department. Thank you, for offering them up.
Absolutely.
So that's for all of you. That's your clerk.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was a disaster which was actually unaware till just like maybe an hour or two before, and then it happened so rapidly, which would probably be about 10 minutes maybe at the most. Standing in my living room and seeing the wind and the twisters of the trees was great. And I wouldn't want to go through this again. With everyone working, and like Michelle said about your DPW working, we also had another community there too, and these men was really diligent. They were hard workers. In fact, I thanked them on the street myself personally. I just could, pardon me, I could not believe the strength that these men had in their minds as well. And everybody worked together so well. And even on Sunday when people were out in their yards, I know even mine, for instance, I saw about 25 people in my yard. And of course I have a big yard. But the thing is, they stopped. They said, we have chainsaws, we have gas, we have oil, we would like to help. So the thing is, outsiders came in to see what was going on and helped till the end of the day almost. In fact, we had one house rep, which is our local, and he had his car parked there in my yard for probably about 6 hours at least. Had his gloves, going down the street, and they'd stop at one house, go to the next house. That's how well they all work together. So I want to let you people know that we had cooperation from you and everyone else. And it was a great job, well done. So we're still a little bit at the cleanup yet, and it's probably going to take some time. Like I said, it didn't happen overnight. It happened that fast.
Right.
So really appreciate all your help with the neighbor community.
Your
So-
residents also.
Your
We had
residents-
so many people just show up out of nowhere, so it was incredible.
So like I said, they said they were from New Haven, Richmond, or wherever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we enjoyed their citizenry.
Great.
Thanks again.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And you know, it's vice versa. If that ever happens again, we're here to help.
Well,
No.
likewise,
Let's just
we
not
will
let
too.
that happen.
What about your football team? What are they?
They were great. They had football.
No, I meant when we play them.
You know what, my kids are from.
Yeah, no. We were happy to help, and you know, definitely devastating to your beautiful community. I happened to go to a softball tournament that morning and didn't realize just how bad it was, and the detours were just being put together really early that morning. I went through and saw it. I couldn't believe it. It was just, and the people, when I came back, they had opened and I wanted to come back through. Like you said, Marv, the people were everywhere. People with trailers.
Smoothie people came around with smoothies.
Yeah.
You know, people dropping off water, food.
Yep.
Drinks, making sure that you had everything you needed. And those of us that were directly affected, Marv and I included, you know, you couldn't have asked for anything, but it was amazing. It
Yeah,
really
it really
was.
truly
Well, that's what
was
I said.
amazing. Sometimes
Yeah.
people use that word maybe a little carelessly, but in your case,
No,
it was
that's true.
amazing to see what was going on over there.
Yeah,
But how sad, you know?
yeah. Well,
Luckily,
we have a new landscape, you know.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah,
all
you
see-
do.
We can all see the north sky now.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think there's a good word with the Lord too, that he blessed every one of us.
Because nobody was hurt.
Nobody
Yes.
hurt.
Yes,
No
absolutely.
injuries and no death.
Yeah, I think he was just talking to us.
Thanks again.
Thank you, thank you.
Can we use this door, or do we have to go all the way around?
You can go right out through here.
Parked out back.
I
We'll
have
let
a
ya.
storm coming, that means-
Don't look at any of our secrets we have back there. You know?
Those are secrets.
Yeah.
We might be able to use some.
You might want to hustle before that storm
I
hits.
know, I heard that thunder. All right, thank
Yeah,
very
you guys
much.
take care.
Thanks again.
Good night.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the council at this time that's not on the agenda? We'll move on. Okay, where are we? Adoption of agenda, Mr. City Manager, any changes?
No changes.
City Council, any changes? Motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There is no discussion on the consent agenda. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on, public hearing for the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation district for the Dick Huvar Land Incorporated. We need a motion to go into the public hearing. Do I have one?
I make a motion to open the public hearing on the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation district for Dick Huvar Land Incorporated for the property located at 67567 Main Street. Oh, at, sorry, 7:09 PM.
Support.
Motion been made and supported.
I need to.
Mr. City Manager, we open up the public hearing.
Sure. The purpose of this public hearing is to take comment on the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation district for Dick Huvar Land Incorporated for property located at 67567 Main Street pursuant to Act 210 of Public Acts of Michigan of 2003. The act is to provide for the establishment of a commercial rehabilitation districts in certain local government units. And as we discussed with council at a previous council roundtable, that Macomb County Planning had staff at. We have received an application. Under that application, we need to hold 2 public hearings. One is for the establishment of a district. That is what we're doing tonight. And then the second, which will be at a future meeting, is to hold a public hearing and then consider the application. So, but strictly speaking, tonight the public hearing is just to hear public comment. We did send notices to the affected taxing units through certified mail, and also to the public through the newspaper. And so if anyone is here tonight that would like to speak during the public hearing, there also will be an item on the agenda subsequent.
Okay. Is there anybody here that would like to speak at this time? Okay. Motion to close?
I make a motion to close the public hearing on the Commercial Rehabilitation District at 7:10 p.m.
Support. Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to items for consideration. We have 7 this evening. The first one is consideration of adopting the Resolution 2021-20, which would establish the Commercial Rehabilitation District for the Dick Huvar Land Incorporated. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider approving Resolution 2021-20, a resolution which was established the Commercial Rehabilitation District for Dick Huvar Land for property located at 67567 Main Street. Tonight, just now, we've concluded the public hearing. And as discussed with the council, with both administration and representatives from the county, the Commercial Rehabilitation Exemption Certificate is a way for the local community to partner with one of its commercial citizens to help them finance improvements that would ultimately lead to a larger tax base and more employment opportunities for its residents. So at the future meeting, not tonight, you will be considering the application. Tonight, you're considering the establishment of the district. And on the second page of your background brief, there is a map showing that the district would be all of the properties that are contiguous with the main dealership that we've put together recently and combined as they've been making improvements over the recent years. Again, the representatives from the county are here tonight, as well as the assistant general manager of the dealership, should you have any questions.
Very good. Is there a motion before discussion?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-20, a resolution which would establish a commercial rehabilitation district for the Dick Huvar Land Incorporated for property located at 67567 Main Street.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? We've had a lot of discussion, as you've already stated, Mr. City Manager. Gentlemen, was there anything that you'd like to state? You did a wonderful job when you made your presentation to us, so we're well versed in this rehabilitation. Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We thank you for being here tonight. We thank you for everything that you brought to us in our packet also. So we reestablished what you had said to us the other day when we went through all of this. So we believe it's a very good thing for our community and for the dealership. Thank you. Item number 2 is consideration of mobile food vendor request private property.
City Council is scheduled to consider a special event request for a mobile food vendor from Carl and Jill Babel of CJ Vending to have 2 mobile food carts, Hot Ziggity Dog and Fun Fried Foods, available on Sunday, September 12th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the Ball Equipment parking lot at 68811 Main Street. During Council's discussions on food trucks in the past, we've discussed that there were food trucks at this location the day of the parade previously, and so administration had sent them, the property owner, a notice that they needed to follow the new special event form that we have. And as a result, Carl Babel had come in, met with me, filled out the form, and then I also spoke with Jill on the phone as well. And they're requesting allowance to have their 2 food trucks there at Ball Equipment like they've had in the past. We have, in the past, historically, mentioned that, suggested to restaurants that, hey, if you are in the business of selling food, please come out onto the sidewalk and sell, some form of what you have indoors, outside. And we've, in the past, discouraged non-food businesses not to have food. It's not a hard and fast law, but it's what we've always encouraged businesses to kind of abide by voluntarily, I would say. And so with that, that's why I put my recommendation the way it is. However, council can, of course, make any changes they want.
Thank you. Is there a motion before discussion?
I'll make a motion to deny the special event request for a mobile food vendor from Carl and Jill Babel, CJ Vending LLC, to have 2 mobile food trucks in Ball Equipment's parking lot on Sunday, June 12th, from 11 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Discussion? On the application, they crossed out the 2 and put 4.
I contacted them. They weren't sure if that meant how many people were working or how many cars. So
okay.
That's why I contacted them directly to follow up with that question originally, and then we had a long, lengthy discussion on food trucks. But my original question was, is it 4 or 2? And it is 2.
Okay. Okay. All right. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I made the motion because we spent a lot of time as a council going through and coming up with a policy, and it was around events that we would consider approval for, things that were events. This is an event, but it's not Ball Equipment's event. It's the Good Old Days Festival, which part of that is to promote the local businesses as well. So even though this is a local business, Ball Equipment, as the city manager said in the back and in the background brief, they're not a food distributor or a food restaurant. So even though I'm completely in favor of food trucks for events, this one doesn't qualify for that. And in addition, last meeting we had another one that came up, and it was for another private residence location, and they were going to have one that they were going to open up to the public as well as their guests. And at that point, we allowed that resident to have their food vendor be there, but just for their guests. So to be consistent, that's the reason why I made the motion, and I want to stay with that, just to be consistent with what we did last week, and the fact that this is even closer to this location. Ball Equipment is close to the restaurants that are looking for business, and we're helping promote. So that's the reason why I support this motion. If we were to allow this, I think we would have to go back to the one at the north end of town, which could provide public selling of food, which there would be more of a need there because it's far away from other restaurants. So anyway, sorry to talk so much, but that's the reason I made this motion and agree with it. I do appreciate Ball Equipment coming back to us because they have been doing it in the past, so it's admirable for them to come and get permission. Unfortunately, I'm not going to vote in favor of them having a food truck, so I'll be in favor of denying the request, which is the motion. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any audience participation in this? Back to the table? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against?
Nay.
One nay?
Nay.
One nay. Motion does pass. Item number 3, consideration of entering an agreement with a new information technology company / police department. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider a proposal from Porter and Black to take over the IT services from Tower Computer Services for our police department. Our current agreement with Tower is now at a point where it's a month-to-month contract, and we can have a 30-day opt-out. This item was previously before you, and we removed it just before the meeting as some members of council had questions, and we did email those questions to the Porter and Black, who did respond. Those answers are in your packet, and so for those reasons, and due to a noticeable and ongoing deterioration of service and increased trouble ticket calls from our current IT department or contractor, we're making the recommendation that we move to Porter and Black.
Very good. Is there a motion before discussion?
Yes, I make a motion to waive purchasing ordinance requirements under Section 64-53D and authorize entering into an agreement with Porter and Black for IT support and maintenance in the amount of $26 per month or a yearly total of $312 with the expense charged to the appropriate line items, Police Department Office Equipment Technology Fund.
Support.
Motion made and support. Gentlemen, do you have anything that you'd like to present?
We gave copies of their contract and the vast rates of.
Nobody can hear you at home. We just love it when you go to the podium anyhow. Yeah?
I'm behind glass, remember that.
Yes.
Yes, we looked at their services. They were recommended to us from other area communities. Their services are far exceed what we're currently getting, and their in-car computers and our camera systems and our mobile computers and just the whole myriad of things that we aren't getting the service for now. And we're losing some of our in-house specialists. Not all of us are going to be here forever, and we need to have that service available for somebody that's, I guess, in that lane and understands that, the technology, which is fastly moving. And it's kind of, we're cops, not IT people, so this is why we're doing this. So.
Yeah. Anybody, any questions?
I have a comment. I just want to thank Porter and Black for responding to the rigorous questions that I put them through. And I'm very impressed with their responses, and I hope we consider looking at them for possibly other future work. So I was very impressed. So thank you.
Anybody else? Any audience participation? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion? Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Green?
Yes.
Mistrovich?
Yes.
Rindell is absent. Ricks?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 4, consideration approving design engineering for Burke Drive. Mr. City Manager?
The 2021-22 budget includes funding for the reconstruction of Burke Drive from curb and gutter and asphalt pavement for the entire length of Burke Drive. There are several locations where water ponds and regularly after rain events, and our city engineers Tetra Tech have provided a proposal to complete design engineering for Burke Drive, and this project will require a topographical survey and drafting work. Both Ken Kingsley from Tetra Tech and Jim Getzinger from DPW are here tonight to answer any questions.
Very good. Is there a motion before discussion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the expense of $28,000 for design engineering services on the Burke Drive reconstruction project by Tetra Tech, with expenses charged to the appropriate line item in the local street fund.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Any discussion? Mr. Kingsley or Mr. Getzinger, any comments, gentlemen?
None.
Pretty much straightforward, correct? All right, back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We also have item number 5, consideration of approving design engineering for Seymour Street. Mr. City Manager.
Very similar to the last item, the fiscal year 21-22 budget includes funding for the reconstruction of Seymour Street. The asphalt pavement has significant cracking and requires regular patching by the DPW staff. And so the roadway drainage there is handled by open ditches due to the lack of available storm sewer outlets. The city engineers have provided a proposal to complete the design engineering for Seymour Street, which will include, again, a topographical survey and drafting work. However, on this project, the city staff does prepare to, or intend to prepare the bid documents themselves.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the expense of $31,000 for design engineering services on a Seymour Street reconstruction project by Tetra Tech, with expenses charged to the appropriate line item in the local street fund.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Same thing, gentlemen? Straightforward?
Yeah, just real quick, this project was intended for the previous fiscal year, but it did get pushed as a reminder due to some funding concerns, so.
Okay. Council, any comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 6 is consideration of authorization to purchase auto grease system for the 2018 Freightliner truck. Mr. City Manager?
The current budget includes $7,000 for the purchase and installation of an auto grease system for the city's 2018 Freightliner dump truck, truck number, what was that, 50. Great Lakes Grunwald is the sole source supplier for the auto grease system in Michigan, so we're recommending that we waive the purchase ordinance requirements due to sole source supplier, which would be a roll call vote.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to waive purchasing ordinance requirements due to Section 6453A and to authorize the expense of $7,554 for the purchase of an auto grease system from Great Lakes Grunwald with funds charged to the DPW Equipment Fund.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Sole source, so. Any comments, Jim?
Just that this type of system is not new. I mean, the city's street sweeper and its new cleaner truck, they also have this system. There's quite a few grease fittings on all this new equipment. There's just a lot of moving parts. So even though my guys are diligent at maintaining the equipment, there's still, we believe, a significant benefit in using this type of system, which consistently adds a small amount of grease versus the we'll call infrequent, maintenance, where it's not getting the grease it needs. And so we found that on repairing, especially snow equipment that gets a lot of salt, when we've had to do repairs, it's very hard to get things apart. So this is intended to make that easier and ultimately, obviously, save money in the long run.
You're going to add life to the equipment.
Yeah,
correct.
Definitely. Okay.
I just have a question with that. In the future, when we purchase trucks and stuff, could we get it on automatically?
Yeah,
because this makes complete sense to have something like this.
So this is not from the distributor that we purchase a truck from, so there's no extra cost in doing it now. I mean, of course, prices do change, but certainly this is something that we didn't consider, that I didn't consider when we purchase a truck new. Moving forward, that is the intention on this type of truck equipment that has a lot of grease fittings, to try to do this from day one.
Great.
Anything else? All in favor? Oh, roll call. Why do I keep on doing that?
Ms. Stravich?
Yes.
Rindell is absent. Ricks?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Motion does pass. Item number 7, consideration of approving wastewater treatment plant air conditioning condenser replacement. Mr. City Manager?
On May 19th, the Richmond wastewater treatment plant air conditioning was not working properly, so we placed a service call and determined that the compressors at the air conditioning unit had failed. So we received quotes on the condenser replacement. However, in doing so, one of the contractors suggested that due to the age of both the condenser and the air handler, that both should be replaced. So they gave a quote on both. We then went back to everyone and requested quotes for the condenser and air handler replacement. The low quote that we received for just the condenser replacement was from Tony's, but the low quote for the condenser and the air handler was from Watson Brothers. And so we kind of have two. Originally, again, our intent was to quote out the replacement for the condenser, but having looked at it, we feel with the price difference there, it probably is in our best interest to replace both. But wanted to give council the option.
Okay, is there a motion? Being there's not an immediate motion, I would ask council to drop our normal rules and have a discussion before a motion, because I am completely confused on terminology here, and I am a refrigeration person. You are saying that we have a compressor bad, but you're also saying we have a condenser that has failed. Those are two completely different things, unless commercially is the compressor and condenser one unit, because a compressor compresses the gas, condenser releases the heat from the gas that the compressor created.
Well, I am not an expert in that either. My understanding is that the condenser is part of the outside unit that has failed. I thought that was condenser was part of the compressor, but
it very well could be commercially. I wasn't a commercial guy, so I'm not sure.
Because if I understand correctly, the compressor has two condensers in it. When I had them try to explain it to me,
I think that's in a package, because a compressor and a condenser are completely separate items. So maybe it comes. I don't know if our other engineer knows. I'm not sure. You're not.
Sorry.
So I guess basically what we're doing, but we have a failed compressor, and they're also saying that we need to replace the condenser.
So
and the air handler. Air handler
correct. So Tony's Heating and Cooling initially responded to a call of no air. They quoted replacement of the external portion of the unit, which I'm referring to as the condenser. They said we can repair it, which is not a good idea, or we can replace it. But in their opinion, they didn't need to replace the interior unit, the air handler unit itself.
Yeah. Excuse me, Jim, is the air handler simply a blower?
Essentially.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
We had a hard time, because of the price, we did need to receive multiple quotes. We had a hard time getting multiple quotes. Watson Brothers, who also does quite a bit of work for the city, they quoted replacement of the entire unit, including the air handler unit. In their opinion, they weren't comfortable replacing just the exterior portion due to its age. And so based on that recommendation, as the city manager stated, I spoke with Tony's Heating and Cooling and said, can you give us a price to do the whole thing so we have a comparison, and why do you, and they said, well, it won't cost a lot more to do the air handler unit. Well, I was surprised that it came back quite a bit more for them, and so it's really, if the condenser were to be replaced now, and in a couple years, which is Watson's concern, the air handler were to fail, now that would need to be replaced, and it's now you're having to match up the unit, whereas if you replace the whole thing, you can get a paired unit that's intended to work with each other. So your cost to replace just the air handler in the future will be more than the difference of replacing just part of it, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just somewhat confused on compressor and condenser, and then the motion is to replace the condenser and the air handler, and it doesn't say that it's replacing the compressor too, and I was wondering what's what, so.
Yeah.
No, does everybody understand?
Yes.
So maybe
Okay, we'll go back. Is there a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion to authorize the expense of $14,565 to Watson Brothers for the replacement of the wastewater treatment plant AC condenser and the air handler with the expenses charged to the appropriate line item in the wastewater treatment plant equipment replacement fund.
Support.
Motion been made and supported.
So I made the motion to replace the whole thing. Well, I mean, one, it's since 1987. And it's probably on its way out. And also, if the handler did replace, like Jim said, it would cost significantly more. So it's kind of like we're getting a deal when we already know it's probably going to fail in the next couple of years anyways. I'm actually surprised it's working this long, so.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would agree that this is cost efficient to do this now, especially seeing the prices for the full condenser and air handler replacement from the other two companies. It just seems like we should do the right thing and go for it both now.
Yeah.
At this price.
Okay.
So, thank you for the explanation. That really helped.
Yes.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Against? Motion does pass. Miscellaneous matters from the city manager, sir.
Just wanted to let council know that I did attend the little unveiling of the refurbished handcart that Rags did today. They had a little section of track behind backyard living that the property owner let them clear the grass off of, and about 50 feet to run up and down, and so, but they do intend to have that on display at the Good Old Days Festival in front of the depot for anyone walking by to see. It's, can't miss it now. It's all refurbished.
Bright yellow.
Nice. Bright yellow, yes. And so it's there. And Jason did get some good video, so that'll be up shortly, I'm sure.
Did I hear that you utilized it?
Yeah, well, hopefully the video cameras were off. I made sure that Jason was my partner. But there are some photos circulating that, yeah, Jason and I at the end did hop on and were able to make it go pretty well. Not as good as Norm and his team, but
yeah. Very good.
Yeah,
all right. Council comments. John?
I have nothing.
Emily?
Nothing, thank you.
Jamie?
Just blessings this weekend.
Absolutely. Jim?
It's good luck for Good Old Days. It's going to be dry.
Yes, it is. Michael?
Yes, I concur, but then also, please, fellow council members, let's give me your city manager evaluations for those that haven't yet, so I can compile the results and the committee can get together and do that. I know it's busy times, but please get those to me.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep, we're Good Old Days weekend here, coming up, today being the 7th. Also remember, it's the 20th anniversary of 911, and take a moment and remember the loss that our country had. The 13th at 7 p.m. is library board meeting right here, or I'm sorry, at the library on the 13th. Do we have a BZA?
No BZA, but we do have Planning Commission.
Planning Commission will meet on the 16th at 7 o'clock right here at City Hall. The 18th is our next Movies in the Park, approximately 8 o'clock, depends on the weather, what time that movie will start, but that will be held in BB Park, approximately 8 o'clock by the gazebo and or by the community center.
Yes.
Okay, and then 2 weeks from yesterday, Labor Day, we will have our next city council meeting. That's on the 20th, right here at City Hall at 7 o'clock. Okay. All right, and again, you know, as we say every year, from the Good Old Days Festival Committee, thank you to everyone in the administration and your employees. Jim, today we ran into some issues that we weren't expecting, since we had no issues last year because we couldn't have one. And this year there were things that came up that we had some new people involved, and we weren't used to having to tell them, and you guys came over and helped us out greatly. We couldn't have done it without the DPW, so we appreciate that. As you can hear the storm going on now, we need a little bit of rain to knock down the dust and everything. This is it, we hope. Otherwise, we have painstakingly, I will tell you, this year, planned this festival, and what normally takes us about a year to put together, we've done it in the last 90 days. So hats off to all the volunteers that we do have, because we have lost some. It's been hard on some of our volunteers to get things taken care of in a timely fashion. But we're there. We get past tonight with this rain, hopefully, and we will have everything ready for what we hear are mass crowds all over the state this entire summer. So we have more porta-johns, we have more of everything that it takes to handle a crowd. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for the weather and for all of our volunteers and our people in the community, that we have a great weekend. So with that, is there any other business of the City Council this evening? Being not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There is no discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Thanks for being with us.